Just as we got cut off by Zoom, it like limits my time. That's why I'm like, oh, before we get into it. But
Okay.
Greece.
Yeah, that's also on my bucket list. So my fiance and I were kind of in between Italy or Greece, but because my daughter wants to go to Greece and she's very into like the gods and all of that, like the over there. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, okay,
I
yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, okay. And then my fiance, he wants to go to Rome. So I was like, we'll just go to Rome um, for our honeymoon, and then we'll go to Greece for my daughter. We'll take her maybe like sometime next year. And then we can, while we're over there, we can probably go to Italy, kind of like you said, like now that we're there, we can kind of do two things at once. And actually, there's a cruise that takes you to Italy and to Greece. So I was like, maybe we can do that instead. So then that way, we can kill two birds with one stone.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I just see I see the pictures and I'm like, it just looks so gorgeous over there. And then the
Mhm.
architecture and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, that's so hard to explain to people. Sometimes like it's so different to just like, well, it's one thing to just travel to a place, and see it, but it's like, it's different just taking it all in and like the
Mhm.
culture and learning. I always tell people, I'm like, you obviously learn about other places and other people, but I think you learn a lot about yourself too when you
Mhm.
travel. At least I have, and sometimes it's just like simple things. When I went to Colombia, I was just thinking about this other day that we say, and I don't know if this is the word to use, but I say popote for a straw.
Oh, me too.
And so yeah, so I'm like, oh, I was with somebody that I actually met through Facebook, I think. And she's like, oh, but she didn't speak Spanish. So she's like, oh, how do you say this? So she could ask for it. And I'm like, oh, it's a popote. So the waitress comes over and she's like, oh, quiero un popote. And the waitress is looking at us like weird. And I'm like, oh, quiero un popote. And I'm like, the girl said it fine, but I'm like, maybe she just didn't understand. And then the couple next to us, they're like, oh, un pitillo. And I'm like, what? And they're, yeah, es un pitillo. And I'm like, ¿esto? And they're like, yeah. They're like, oh, because you guys, ¿de dónde son? And I'm like, oh, well, soy mexicana. They're like, yeah, here we say pitillo. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that's why they didn't understand because we weren't even using the right word.
Oh
Um,
my God, that's so funny. So, I used to work with a doctor who was Puerto Rican, and it's funny how like our Spanish is very different than everybody else's Spanish.
Mhm.
So she said that she told a little girl if she can give her pinche or something like that. I think it was pinche, and then she was like, "What?" And that the parents looked at her like, "What the hell did she just say?"
Yeah.
So then she left the room, whatever, because she was just like, "Okay, like I just said, I wanted her pinche." Um, and then the medical assistant went to the room, and then when he came out, they were like, he told the doctor, "What did you tell the patient?" And she's like, "Oh, I said I wanted her pinche." And then he's like, "Oh, what did you mean by that?" And then she's like, "This," and she pointed at a liga. And then he's like,
Oh,
"Oh, that's a liga." And then she's like, "Oh," and she's like, "So then what did I say?" And he's like, "Pinche in Spanish is like a bad word, kind of."
yeah, yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." She's like, "I didn't know that. Like, I thought it was a liga." And to her, like Puerto Ricans, that's how they say it. So
Yeah.
that reminded me of what you just said.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how Americanized things are here.
Yeah.
The food versus like going somewhere where like, it's like not homemade because it's made by people that know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that burritos are not really Mexican? Yeah. So one of
Makes
my cousins
sense.
she came from Mexico, and then I forgot what we were talking about. And then well the subject came up, but like the food, and then she's like, burritos are not Mexican, right? And I'm like, they're not. And she's like, no, that was like, that's Americanized, but because it has like Mexican ingredients, like people think that it's like a Mexican thing. She's like, but in Mexico, like no se comen burritos. And I was like, what?
Yeah, if you
I was
think
like,
about it, that's why when you told me right there, and I'm like, well, like my initial is like, oh, well, no, I didn't know. But then I'm like, well, if you think about it, like you said, my mom never made burritos growing up.
Yeah,
So
it's like an Americanized thing.
yeah, yeah. Talking about food, what are foods that you would recommend people have it like should try this year, or they should look for? I had a conversation like on my a Facebook Live a while back, and some people recommended trying frog legs. I haven't yet. And I don't know that I will. I mean, I want to because I'm like, ooh, that seems kind of like cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know that I really want to. But is there anything like that you think like, oh, like that'd be people should try it?
Um, mm, I don't know. That's a tricky question. I guess because whatever I eat to me is normal. I mean, I haven't never had frog legs,
Yeah.
but um, I posted a video of like the chamoy pickle, and a lot of people were saying like, I love pickles, but I don't think I'll ever do that. So maybe try that. Like, even me, like I love pickles, but I never saw myself eating the chamoy pickle like that, the way that I prepared it, like the way that you eat it, and it's so good. Like I had actually tried the chamoy pickle from Pika Pika. Like you've
Mhm.
heard the brand, right? Pika
Yeah.
Pika. But it was too sour, and I was like, I couldn't even finish that pickle. But then I was like, okay, I want to try it from the one that I actually got, like the regular fruit roll-ups and like the Cheetos and all of that. So I was like, okay, let me try it the normal way, like the way I see people eating it, and see if I like it. And so much different. Like I really like that way. So maybe try a chamoy pickle.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you try it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Have you ever had it?
I finally got I ordered one and it like took forever. I finally got it. I wasn't like I love chamoy. I love
Mm-hmm.
pickles, but I wasn't too crazy. Like it didn't taste chamoy enough for me. Um,
Oh, okay.
like I don't know, like whatever liquid, like it was good, but it wasn't like I would eat that one again.
Yeah.
I thought is I went and I bought normal pickles and I have this chamoy. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's from Don Chilerito. That's the brand.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite
Mm.
chamoy. I would definitely recommend
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
I'm like, what if I make my own? Like I just
Mm.
take the pickle, I poke it with a fork and then just let it absorb all the chamoy. So I'm gonna try.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I really liked it. Like, that's like my favorite snack right now. I'm like so obsessed with it. So I'll probably have one today.
I just bought my because I had pickles, but the last jar that I got was like I don't know. It was like, sometimes not there. It's not flavored, but it's not just a basic one. I didn't
Mm,
look and I bought the non-basic jar. So now I'm like, so yesterday I had to eat those first because I'm like, no, I no tengo space in the fridge. So,
yeah.
but
Oh,
yeah, no, I
okay.
think chamoy pickles are awesome. One thing too that this is kind of random, but I would recommend for people that haven't tried them to just try hot Cheetos because it's, like us, I'm sure we grew up with hot Cheetos. Pero
Mhm.
when I lived in Florida, I had a bunch of roommates, and one of them was from, I think she's still there in Michigan.
Mhm.
Este, but like the opposite of me. She was una muchacha gabacha and like just like, grew up different.
Uh-huh.
And one day she's like, oh, like, because she would see me eat, I would always have chips. I always have chips in my hand.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, oh, can I try one of those? Like, I've never tried them. And I'm like, what?
Never had a Cheeto?
Never had it. Yeah, like never had, it was hot Cheetos.
Uh-huh.
Well, and her family like was very like healthy, so I don't know, they probably don't eat as much junk as I do.
Yeah. As Mexicans do.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, she's like, can I just like I've always been curious, and I'm like, oh yeah, go for it. And
Mhm.
she took like a small bite and she couldn't finish it because she felt it was too hot. But things like that, that are easily accessible, I would recommend people just try it,
Yeah.
see what's out there. Obviously, like I like myself with a lot of flavor, so I know that, I like my takis. They're horrible for you, but
Yeah. You know what? I don't really like Takis like that. I like the Taki sticks, which I mean, I think they're a little bit less sour, and I think it's just like they're just too sour for me. So
Oh,
Somebody told me to try the pickle with the takis, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I'll try it, but I'm like, I don't know if I like it because I don't really like takis like that. But I'm still gonna try it.
yeah, yeah. Well, they have like the purple Takis. The bag is purple,
Mhm.
and like I don't like those, but they do have
Oh,
mine. Which ones do I eat? They're like a blue bag. That's my thing right
oh, the blue one. Okay, okay, okay.
now. Yeah,
And
those
I
are.
think the only ones that I tried are the purple one, and those are the ones that I don't like.
Oh, I felt like those were too salty for my liking.
Yeah, like too salty, too sour, too, I don't
Yeah.
know. It just had too much going on.
So one of the things on my bucket list is, and this is not just for 2024, it's for my life, is to visit every continent. So except Antarctica because I don't know what I
Mhm.
would do there. But that's one thing that I have on there. So since I already went to Mexico, I'm like maybe I can try. Well, I mean that's all North America, but I
Uh-huh.
like I want to hit the continent first and going back to
Mhm.
like certain places.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God. You know what? That's actually one of mine.
nice.
So, so you know how we were talking about like bucket lists and stuff?
It's
So this is mine. I don't know if you can see it, but
all white. Your screen,
it's
I think
white.
you
Oh
put it
yeah. Hold
closer
on.
or closer.
Oh, oh, hold on. So it says must do travels before
Oh yeah, yeah.
baby.
Now I see it.
And then I have like, um, Asia, Europe, um, what else? Well, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh my God, like, I guess we've been to two, right? I don't know. But I was thinking about that and I was like, oh my God, like, that would be like a cool thing to do, like go to
Every
each continent.
Yeah, another one that's kind of along that sense is the Seven Wonders of the World. Somebody told me that one. They're like, "Oh, I want to go to the Seven Wonders," and I'm like, I never thought about that one, but that would be cool, to.
Yeah, so my daughter recently actually told me about that she wants to like do that, and I'm like, okay, well, let's look up to see like where all of them are at, and then we can put it like on the bucket list. Because I was kind of like running out of like ideas of where to go. So once she told me, I started adding them, and I was like, oh my God, that would be so cool too. So, oh my God, we
Yeah,
kind of have the same ideas of like bucket list.
yeah, yeah, and they're good ones, and especially like if you're already traveling, like you might be able to hit,
Mhm.
one of the wonders when
Exactly.
you're going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have to go to okay, so I went to South America, obviously North America,
Hmm.
Australia. I still have to do Europe. And ¿qué me falta? Oh, well, Africa.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not doing Antarctica, so I'm
Oh,
like,
I mean, I kind of want to, but that's like the last one. So if it doesn't happen, I mean, that's fine. But I would want to at some point in my life,
mhm.
if I can. If
Yeah,
not, I
just
mean,
say, yeah. Like maybe if they, I don't know what they have, like I don't know what you visit.
what would
Like,
you
do they
do,
have
right?
little
Yeah.
towns? Do they have little towns? I just
I
on
have no
TikTok me salió some people that are doing research over there, and
idea.
they're like,
Uh-huh.
oh yeah, this is how we do this, and oh, apparently it's always light outside. And I don't know if it's just this time, but they're like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's light 24 hours a day, and I'm like, well, that'd be weird. Like,
I know, right? You go to sleep when there's like sun out.
but it would be kind of cool to experience that. Like, how many
Yeah.
people, can say like, oh yeah, there was 24-hour light.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. But yeah, yeah, I think traveling, there's just so many cool places to see. Um, no más, of course, I think usually it's the money, trying
Yeah.
to budget it
Yeah,
out.
but even like I feel like people think that traveling has to be like an extravagant trip, but it doesn't. Like you can just go take a little road trip
Mhm.
to the next state or whatever, like just get out of your hometown, like experience like other places. I don't know if you saw recently a video of some girl. I think her husband is like in the Marines or something, and I think she posted a video of her going to like Vegas and to Universal, and on like one of the comments was like kind of trying to talk crap to her about that, like saying, "Oh, it's just Universal, it's just Vegas." And of course, everybody was like, well, how do you not know that this is not her first time? Like, going to those places. And to her, it's a big thing. To you, it's not, but to her, it is. And I was like, that is so true. And I feel like that's why a lot of people don't want to travel or do, or like even go somewhere small because they're like, oh, it's just Florida or it's just, but no, like that's a big thing. Like it's a big step to just travel outside of, get out of your own hometown, like it's not just about staying there, and you don't really need that much money either. Like if you take a road trip, we've been to Tennessee, took a little road trip, and probably the whole weekend that we were there, we spent no more than $500.
I think that's such a good point, especially around this idea of like bucket list, right? What we want
Mm-hmm.
to do when we look at it and we're like, oh no, pues no puedo. I don't have enough money, I don't have enough of this, but like, I mean, if you just want to travel, right? Even if you don't have a specific spot, like you said, a small road trip. For me, I doing these when I went to Yellowstone, it was a road trip. I drove there to Zion as well. And even though like, I mean, it's a lot to drive, but I didn't spend that much money on gas. And then
Mm-hmm.
like we camped out a few places, a few nights. So like we didn't spend that much in a hotel. We just got a hotel in like I think we did like one night in a hotel just to make sure that we could shower and stuff. And there are places where you can actually pay for showers. So there's ways to do it where
Mm-hmm.
you could do it on a budget. And like there's free, like I think the national parks do this too, but like free days. I know some of like the trails, fishing areas around here, they do like free stuff where you can
Mm-hmm.
go and venture out. But
Yeah, like you can just start off small and then, from there, save up a little bit more to like go to another country, but it doesn't have to be big all the time. Like my first trip was in Florida, which is when we went to Daytona Beach. And at that time, I was a young, broke teen mom. So obviously, I could not afford a plane ticket for me or my daughter. But we took a road trip there and it was fun. Like it was our first road trip, um, our first vacation. And we had so much fun. Like my daughter didn't think about how big that trip was. Like just the fact that we were not in Chicago was fun already. So
and landmarks too,
mhm.
along the way you can stop at different landmarks, uh,
Yeah.
see different things. Like here in, Oregon's not too far away from me, and they have some amazing like hikes with waterfalls, and they have like Halloween Town. So they have
Oh my God,
really,
I want to go. I want to visit that.
yeah, I saw that. I didn't even know that it existed until like somebody posted it on Instagram.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll put that on my list. But those places, like you can go and you don't have to necessarily spend like do all the tours. I mean, if you can, it's cool, but you can still see the places and see, experience it
Mhm.
without having to spend too much. Just like Leavenworth, a lot of people love Leavenworth, and during this time they have the lights. Well, I don't know when they take them off, but they have like the lights and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so you can see it and experience the Christmas feeling that they got going on
Yeah.
without breaking the budget.
Yeah, and I do want to visit that place too because I did see that it's like like the way they go all out with the Christmas lights. It kind of looks like Switzerland. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to visit that.
Something really random, and I don't know if you have anything like this. Years ago, I saw that. I don't know if it was a spa or it was just a video, but it was a hot chocolate bath. And like I put that on my bucket list because it's so random. But I'm like, how
That
many
looks fun. It sounds like fun.
how many people are gonna say they got a hot chocolate bath? So I don't know
Exactly.
where they do this. Like I said, it was like it popped up on a feed, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I want to take a hot chocolate bath someday.
Exactly. Now I think I do too.
Yeah, see, and that's with this video, I'm like, oh, sometimes it's just like you don't think about stuff, or you don't think like, oh, I can do that, but then or that you want to do it, and then it's like
Mhm.
when somebody else are like, oh wait, no, like that would be fun. I
That
want to
sounds fun. Yeah.
go to that place, or I want to do that. I'll add your socials. So people can find you on TikTok, they can find you on YouTube. And like you said, you have recommendations, especially in Chicago. So if people are planning to visit or they're already there and want to try something new, you do have a lot of restaurant recommendations.
Mhm.
So we'll add those there so they can go and follow you. But I want to say thank you again for joining me. And we had actually talked about doing a different video about what we've learned in our 20s. And I learned a lot in my 20s.
Oh, me too.
If I can share that knowledge with others so they don't, so they can take that with them, I think that would be awesome. And if you want to join me for that one, I would love to have you so we can share our thoughts and
Oh
hopefully.
yeah.
Oh, look, we're running out of time. It's already
Oh
time.
my God. Well, thank you. Anyway, thank you for the invite. I had so much fun.
Yeah,
And I
me
am looking
too.
forward to the next one.
Yes, yeah, we'll definitely get that scheduled. But yeah, I think to everybody who's watching, don't forget to subscribe, and then I will also link Gisselle's YouTube so you can subscribe and also follow her on TikTok.
Yes.
But thank you. I will see you all next time.